A wise man once said, the new world is going to need Rick Grimes. Spoiler warning! Duh! Whew. The intensity in this episode, holy shit. Oh man. I mean, oh my gosh. I mean, the National Guard, they're assholes. Oh my gosh, they're assholes. I mean, like, everybody's fending for themselves, like in this episode. I mean, well, not everybody, but like the black dude, that's in the, at the facility. Like when the way they introduced him, you're thinking like he's running things or something like that, or he's like one of the top dogs around, around that, facility, until you see that later on that he's being held captive along with Nick and everybody else, and he's basically keeping himself from being detained or taken in the principal's office, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? Like, who gets taken out of their out of where they're being held and taken to God knows where else and being executed. I don't know. And so he's trying to, he's surviving. So I mean, I totally get that. And but yeah, man, Daniel though. I mean, I love his "it ain't nothing but a G thing" attitude. I mean, that is he is a badass motherfucker. Oh man, I mean, he went to extreme measures to keep his family together and to get to his wife and to help Madison get to Nick. So man, oh man, I mean, I get it. I mean, like, she needed medical attention, and I don't even know if they tried hard enough to save her. I think they said they had to remove her foot. I mean, they just had to do it, or they could have saved her and they just chose not to do that, and they just chose to just chop her foot off anyway. I mean, you can't trust those guys. I mean, like, what the hell? And then they're saying that there's an operation that they're going by called Cobalt, and by the next night, the very next night at 9 o'clock, the National Guard is gonna fend for themselves and ditch everybody in LA. Like, they're gonna retreat. Let me be like, no, peace out, LA, you're on your own. Like, what the fuck? And oh my gosh, I mean, like, were they basically there just to study, people, study everybody there and execute them and whatnot? I mean, like, what the hell is going on? They're like, this is like the first human threat of many human threats in the zombie apocalypse. I mean, the National Guard. I mean, like, it's ridiculous. And we saw a small glimpse of that in the Walking Dead season 1 finale. Like I said, like in that flashback, in the hospital. And it's cool that we're getting to see a little bit more of that in this show, because every time we go back to that season 1 finale of The Walking Dead, I'm like, we don't see what's up with these guys ever since. So it's nice to see that, transitioning, or whatever, or whatnot, in this show. And it is ridiculous. Oh man. And what was I gonna say? Oh, Travis. He is just too soft. I mean, like, he almost reminds me of Dale. Well, not Dale, because Dale will put down the walker, in a heartbeat. But he's almost softer than Tyrese. Like, remember that moment in season 4 of The Walking Dead when Tyrese said to Karen, I don't like putting walkers down to your defense. I mean, like, what the fuck, dude? I mean, like, what the hell? I mean, I get it with Travis. This apocalypse just happened, and you still see them as people, and you still see them as being, they're not beyond saving, and then there's still a chance that they can save them and they can be cured. I mean, for God's sake, Herschel was like that. I mean, come on. I mean, Herschel had like almost had all of his family who all of his loved ones that he lost, family members and neighbors and stuff, locked up in that farm in hopes to save all of them. So, I mean, come on, we were totally cool with him after that, and we're in. I mean, and Travis is sort of in that same state. Like that's why he couldn't, shoot the walker, and like when he saw them or when he saw her, it reminded me of Morgan where he couldn't put his wife down. But that was, I mean, that had a much deeper story to it. But still, I mean, like this is more towards like Herschel this is pre-Herschel, before he woke up and got back to his two senses, and when he kept all those walkers in the barn. And I mean, that's pretty much like a small foreshadow of that. Now, it's nice to see that Alicia and Chris are getting along a lot better than they did, like in episode 3. But I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I mean, I don't know. Feel free to show your thoughts on this. But when they had that moment where they're basically looting in a household, and then Chris happens to see her trying on the dress and putting on makeup and everything, and it looks like he had a slight boner just looking at her. I mean, like, that's like your dad's girlfriend's daughter you're looking at. I mean, like, I just find that fucking weird. I mean, that's potentially gonna be your sister. I mean, like, or like that's how tight your dad is with her mother. I mean, so I mean, it's like a very Brady It's like that moment in the very Brady sequel when Greg and Marsha had that moment. Okay, I'm blowing things way out of proportion here, but I just think that's fucking weird. That's just me. But yeah, I can see why why the National Guard locked up all the walkers in the arena. I mean, even if they did it for even if they did it just to use them as weapons, I mean, there's no way they could have taken it all over 80 walkers down and still have ammunition. I mean, they want to save up as much as ammunition as possible, and they're fending for themselves and they're protecting their own, and they're like being really stingy with the medicine and everything, and not really wanting to give that to the people like that they're keeping contained and in that small neighborhood in the facility that they have them in. I mean, I get it. I mean, this is what the zombie apocalypse does to everybody. I mean, like where you have to like where your survival techniques will be maybe cold, cold to the touch, and yeah. I mean they're at, it's just like they're more concerned about the virus, and rather than people who are trying to fight their way through this mess, just like they are, and they're just being fucking cowards and just worrying about themselves and I don't know. I mean, it's just crazy. I feel bad for everybody on this show. I mean, it is ridiculous. And I mean, the kid that Daniel was torturing, who has eyes for his daughter, Ophelia, he's like the only decent guy, he's like the only one of the few decent men in that National Guard. And while the rest of them are just being dicks and saying, no, we're not going to use the medicine, that much medicine. And they're going to eventually ditch everybody in LA and just fend for themselves. Oh my gosh. And watch. That all those walkers in the arena are gonna get out somehow. I mean, like that's the season finale, and then it's gonna get to the point where Madison and Travis get they get as many people out there as they can. They try to get a hold of Nick and everything like that, and then they just have to get on the Dodge. It's time to leave LA. It's time to roll. It's time to bounce. Deuces. You kind of feel. I mean, you gotta feel bad for Daniel. I mean, like he's going through all this trouble to get his wife back and everything, and then she didn't make it, and that's gonna destroy him. I mean, but he's gonna hold it together for Ophelia and focus on protecting her and I think in Madison's family as well, because he basically trusts her with his daughter, and he keeps telling her to look after her, and so I hope they all make it out. And I hope Nick has got his shit together where he's like, I can't do this anymore. I mean, survival is my first priority. And, the drugs just, I have to leave that part of my life out of there. That's the pre-apocalyptic Nick, and it has to stay that way. I think that's about it. Feel free to leave your comments in the comment section. Let me know what you thought of the episode, and throw out some pointers that I may have missed in this review. And if you liked my review on Season 1, Episode 5 of Fear the Walking Dead, be sure to thumb up the video and share. Subscribe to my channel for more awesome videos to come. And until next time, Nerdy Blation is signing out. Peace. Stay safe.